What is strong?
Don't be the heaviest thing that you lift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate to see people get caught up with feeling that
You can let it slide a little bit and it not affect your day to day.
how do you quantify that?
I think my opinion's changed in this over time.
And for me now, being a parent, anytime that I took a break, I lost confidence with my spine,
If you're letting it slide and it's restricting your day to day, you're not strong enough.
especially after the age of 30. You
Yeah.
lose muscle mass every year. So if you're doing something to counteract that, you can offset aging.
Your potential is lower than it could have been,
Yeah.
but it's still much higher than it currently is.
Yeah. I do fully believe that everyone should learn how to.
It's time to stretchy stretch.
Welcome to You Can Fix You, giving you mobility tips to build movement freedom and train with confidence.
So episode 5, what is strong? Tom, what does it mean to be strong?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's like we should call it that.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. People are always like, I'm strong if I can, but what is, how do you quantify that? And for me, it's really a feeling of like, do you feel strong?
Sure.
And that can be whatever you want it to look like.
Yep.
So for me, it's more based on a feeling. And I hate to see people get caught up with feeling that if they can't lift a weight they used to be able to, they start to identify as like, oh, I'm not strong anymore. But it's like, maybe just your training's changed, your goals have changed, you're older or something like that. But it's like, can you do the things that you like to do? And do you feel you recover from them okay? And that's the main thing really for me.
Sure. Yeah, I think my opinion's kind of changed in this over time. And I used to very much be dogmatic of, no, you can only be strong if you can do X, Y, Z. But now I'm much more considerate to kind of, you've got seasons to your life. So certain seasons you want to focus on your family, certain seasons you want to focus on your career, other seasons you do want to focus on your fitness and what you can do. And that's okay. And so long as generally you're strong enough to be able to do whatever you need in that season and you have enough kind of optimal surface or optimal surplus that you can let it slide a little bit and it not affect your day to day. Whereas if you're letting it slide and it's restricting your day to day, you're not strong enough. It's kind of where I settle to these days.
Yeah, that was big goals for me. Were like chasing the numbers. So whenever I could do, if I can do 100 kilo snatch, that means I'm really strong. If I can deadlift 200 kilos, that means I'm really strong. But just the overall, I was putting so much effort into my training that I was having to have a nap in the middle of the day. And I was just constantly just eating rubbish and everything just to give myself energy so I could hit the numbers that I wanted to hit, which now to me is just like not very healthy overall. But like, what's one of the things, like nobody ever said that lifting heavy weights is healthy. It's to a point, it's great for you. But then at a certain point, when you start to try and push numbers and get a lot higher and like really start draining your body of energy,
For sure.
you've got to be giving other things up. And for me now, being a parent, I'm like, I don't want to not have enough energy to do stuff with my kids because of my training. So for me now, if I can at least go in and do a bit, I can still deadlift heavy enough that I'm happy with. I can still squat heavy enough that I'm happy enough. I can, snatch, I can clean and jerk. I can do all of those things, but I do it more now as a recreational lifter.
Sure.
I wouldn't now say like, I'm an Olympic weightlifter anymore. It's like, no. I'm a recreational lifter and I've just got a load of great skills that I can play with now. So I can bring one up a little bit and still recover okay and let it go back down again while I play with another one for a while and let it go back down again. And for me, being okay with that is very, relieving to be like, what, I'm happy enough, I'm strong enough, I'm okay.
Well, because the same thing applies, like you kind of went from life inactive into weights and CrossFit and martial arts and stuff. Whereas I started in the endurance world. So it's all like, if you're really strong, you've got a fast 5K or you've got a really quick, whatever your duration is. And so it's the same thing. You're searching for this, arbitrary number, much as we were with chasing subscribers. And then you realize, oh, it's a little bit hollow. You hit the number and you're like, oh.
So still got to do it again tomorrow.
What's the next number?
Yeah, like for me, when I ever hit any of the bigger ones, it was like, okay, 100 kilo snatch. What's impressive after that? It's like 120. It's like the amount of work I had to put in to get to that one point was like, it just takes you so much longer to get to. So your initial beginner gains, that's a great time to play around and get the strength that just comes out of nowhere seemingly. But then to get to that intermediate level, it's a bit of a grind. And then to get to anything that like is like at a competitive level is a full-time job almost, you know. So
And is that Coach Summers, the gymnastic coach, always talked about Olympic cycles in 4 years. So it takes you 4 years, say, to get to 70% of your potential. It takes another 4 years to get to 80%, another 4 years to get to 90%. Like each investment in time yields a much lower return.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally okay to just work yourself up to 70 or 80% of your potential and maintain it with very minimal effort. It's always going to, like we talked in previous episode, it's always going to take more effort to create change, but maintaining so almost effortless is, you know, you can actually dial the habits way down and things still maintain. And then by shifting your focus into something else that you're excited about, you might actually find that other thing improves anyway, because another like seemingly unaffected area really improves. What was this like? Somebody's trying to work on their handstands, but then they need to take a break because their wrists are, you know, inflamed or whatever. So they work on their thoracic strength and their kind of their obliques and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly the shoulder position's better. So now their handstand's better anyway.
Oh yeah. That's when I started. When I got annoyed, one of the first things that I figured out to fix with myself was my shoulder. When I just got so annoyed of it, just like I would just lose power in it completely. And when I went, right, I'm going to sort this thing out. I'm sick. I've been to see, I don't know how many people now, and it's still giving me problems. I'm going to do all these strengthening exercises that we like to share with you all now. And I'm going to fix this thing. When I did that, I went from being able to do one rubbish muscle up to being able to do 5 from just fixing how my shoulders felt. I was still doing the normal training I was doing as well, but from having healthier joint that's functioned properly, I 5 times something I could do. That's ridiculous. It's insane. And like my overhead lockout, my snatch, everything started to just improve because I had a healthier joint to work with. So,
and it's funny because kind of circling back to what we said, being strong depends on how you define it. A powerlifter is going to define strength differently than a gymnast. It's going to be different than a long distance runner. It's okay to have those different definitions, but I think as a company, we tend to circle back to there's an underlying strength that everyone needs, and it's general joint health. And you get that through being strong throughout your full range of motion. Like a runner, if they're restricted in their ankles, knees, or hips, it's going to restrict their potential anyway.
Stride's going to be messed up. They're not going to recover in the same way as well because they're just always their body's having to work this a little bit harder to work around compensations. So
a powerlifter, they might be able to lift 11 to 1,000 kilos, but if they go outside of their strong range, that's where they get hurt. How many times do you see a powerlifter come and it's like, oh, I went to reach for something and my back popped out. And you're like, but you can lift so many weights.
They can't turn sideways to lift the dish up.
And, you know, a gymnast is like, I still think gymnasts are almost the most broad in the sense that they've got strength through a range of motion. So they've got great flexibility. They've got great strength. I think where they do lack though is that conditioning, the sort of cardio side of things, which is a strength in itself. But no one discipline kind of is a catch-all for everything.
And that's the thing, like get yourself to that nice baseline level of strength and then do whatever you want to do. You know, it's the thing that you enjoy, do that, you know? So like, why should you care about strength long-term, JP?
Well, it's a longevity thing, right? So,
longevity? Is it not longevity?
Longevity, longevity.
Is it longevity or longevity? 5% wrong? Is it wrong? Is there a wrong?
I thought it was longevity.
Leave a thing in the comments. Is it longevity or longevity?
JP's an idiot. He doesn't know anything.
Genuinely don't know.
All right, guys, come back. We got enough crap in the comments. So, you know, again, take the powerlifter as an example, or the gymnast. You know, gymnast, high impact. So they tend to find as they get older, the intensity of the training they have to do, the volume of the training they have to do naturally dies down. But if they could maintain a little bit higher, they could probably keep their body going well. It's that they've dropped completely and then their body thinks they can still do something, but they can't. They're not ready for it. Same as a powerlifter, like they can't maintain the strength they once had, but their brain doesn't necessarily realize that. And then they go to do something that they thought was within their capacity, but it's no longer there. So it's important to have and maintain a baseline level for as long as possible so you don't catch yourself in day-to-day stuff.
So lifting weights is a good thing to do. and it keeps you stronger, and it makes, especially after the age of 30, when everything starts going downhill, you lose muscle mass every year. So if you're doing something that can counteract
and
to
bone
build
mass,
muscle,
especially for
bone
ladies.
mass, yeah. So if you're doing something to counteract that, to improve your bone density and your muscle mass, you can offset aging as best you can. You're always going to get older anyway, hopefully.
For sure.
And if you're doing things that can offset that make you feel stronger as well, it's a good thing to do. It just makes sense. I do fully believe that everyone should learn how to lift weights properly.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to get a medal, break any records, or do any crazy lifts, but knowing how to engage your hips properly, knowing how to brace heavy is really important. And for me, in that feeling strong sense, anytime that I took a break from lifting with a barbell, I always felt like there was just something missing in my middle. So my back pain didn't come back, but I lost a level of confidence with my spine in general. It just felt like something's missing. And it was never until I got back to deadlifting and squatting again that it was like, oh, things feel safe again, So I wouldn't, even though I didn't have any pain, I was like, a nervousness came back. Yeah. So I really do see the value in learning proper lifting technique. Oh, yeah. And once you do it once, it just carries on for the rest of your life. You only have to do it really well once. Yeah. And then you're just like, I know how to lift. I know how to train. And you're able to then start to play with those things and make yourself, like I said, get stronger, take a wee break for a while, get stronger, take a wee break for a while. So you can always get stronger. Yeah. You don't always have to be just, I need to get as strong as possible forever to lift something once. And then what do I do with my life? Yeah. It's like, I want to get stronger, have a wee break, get stronger, have a wee break. It's a great way to go.
Yeah, there's an old Chinese proverb, you're as old as your spine. And if you don't, say you're not training at all, or if you are training, the same basic biology happens, is that over time, your bones become less dense, your muscles atrophy, they get smaller. If you're able to load them just a little bit beyond what you need to day, they maintain what they've got. It's crazy.
Yeah. Don't be the heaviest thing that you lift.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to lift something else as well.
Yeah. Like the most optimal thing to do is to get as strong as possible before 28, because it all goes downhill from there. Right. But
you can still start when you're old.
Yeah, exactly. If you're 50, if you're 60, that's not an excuse. It's not like, oh, I didn't do it when I was younger, so I can't do it now. No. You still have potential. Yeah. You still work your way up to your potential.
It's just going to be a harder starting point.
Yeah. It's just, exactly. Your potential is lower than it could have been.
Yeah.
But it's still much higher than it currently is.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you?
And you don't even know what it could be.
Yeah.
Which is always so exciting.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like there's so many people that don't start stuff until they're 50, 60, 70 sometimes. Yeah. And it's like in a year's time, they're a different person. They can do so many things that they thought they'd never be able to do. We see it all the time. It's ridiculous.
100%.
Like people, like I used to think that, 60 was old, but now I'm like, there's people all the time. Like I'm 66, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like, I can't do that.
I know.
I'm 36. It's like, what? And it's just like, it blows my mind of like how resilient the body is and how much it can always learn at any point.
Yeah. And I think especially as you get older, again, going back to biology, your strength peaks in like your early 30s. Your endurance peaks like very late 30s, very early 40s. So people tend to be able to have a longer career in sport, in endurance-based events like long distance running, triathlons, that kind of thing. That's why so many, old men get their Lycra on and go out cycling and stuff. It's a natural thing that your body can excel at as you get older, but you need to have that base level strength, which you get from lifting the weights, from doing the things that, I don't need to do that. It's like, yeah, you do. You just didn't realize it. And having that, whether it's, a mobility program, some sort of simplistic mobility method, or something that gives you that base level, knowing that then whatever activity you choose, horse riding, backflipping, slapping, whatever.
Slapping?
Yeah. Happy slapping. Gotcha. Your body isn't going to let you down, and you can then explore new hobbies as you get older. What's the point in retiring if you can't do something new?
Yeah. Can we get into our win then?
Oh yeah. So the win is from Jill. This weekend win. I played 20 minutes of rugby yesterday. I'm going to be the first to admit this. Rugby was compulsory in my school in first year. I hated it. I don't like contact sport. I don't like touching people in general. But she did 20 minutes of rugby. That's awesome. She propped 4 scrums, lifted a line out, hit a few rucks, and that's the best bit, she's 54.
Class.
I would wager I'm old enough to be the mother of every other player in the field. 2 years ago, I played about the same amount and I strained my quads so badly I couldn't lift my legs to put my pants on. All I've done differently in the intervening 2 years is mobility and some low-key couch to 5K training. And that's just what we're saying, is that you do something different and the thing that you were doing before gets better. I've been doing SMM 1 to 2 times a week for a few months now. I did a full SMM yesterday before the match, and today I feel fine. I'm hypermobile and have had osteoarthritis, so that's decreasing density of the bones. No, it isn't, JP. She's had osteoarthritis in her knees for 20 years. Oh my goodness, so 34. Each year my body hurts more and more in more and more places, but now it's feeling better and stronger every week.
Yes.
Thanks, Tom, Jenni, and team. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's feeling stronger every week. And then it's like, if you were to hear someone saying, oh, I'm 54, I've got hypermobility and osteoarthritis in my knees.
And
And
I've
it's
had it
like,
for 20
they
years.
feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting stronger every week. That's amazing.
And I
love
just
that.
went and played rugby against people who I could be their mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I love it. Like I used to, like whenever I used to work out with like some of the 50-year-olds doing CrossFit and like, and they would just run rings around me. I had to make the workouts ridiculously high skill to keep up with them.
When I started CrossFit, there was a 50-year-old person that regularly beat me in workouts, and it drove me insane.
Yeah. To be that person.
Yeah, but exactly, it's such an inspiration to go, oh wow, at that stage 25 more years I could still be doing this and kicking some youths.
Oh, that's totally. When I grow up, I want to be like Jill. That's what I'm like. You're only 20 and I'm this age.
Yeah.
You struggling? You know, I want to be that person, you know, and there's no reason that anyone can't. I think it's a good place to leave it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.